7 healthy habits that you can put in place as a highly successful teacher. Hey guys, so today and welcome back to the Teacher Fitness Academy. I am Chrissy Morris, your host. So today we're going to be talking about 7 healthy habits that you can put in place for yourself, both inside and outside the classroom, that make you show up as the best version of you, both inside and outside the classroom. So a while back in the summer, I did a podcast episode that was very similar to this, but it was based around 7 healthy habits that you can put in place as an individual to make sure that you are being the best version of you and the most successful version of you just in general in life. And I thought, actually, you guys loved that. You lapped it up. And what better way to sort of hit off this week's episode with really zoning into how we can build this into teaching, really zoning into how we can build this into our lifestyle as a teacher, both inside and outside the classroom. And I'm going to go over 7 points which I've learned both in my teaching career and as a health and fitness coach to really make sure that you are utilizing the time that you have available and becoming the most successful version of you, both inside and outside the classroom. Before we dive into that, I did want to sort of talk about and touch upon the value that you get from actually building these things in for you and what impact that can have on you as a teacher and how that can have a positive impact in the classroom too. I think it's so often seen and thought that actually doing these things for yourself can be quite selfish. It can make you feel quite self-centered, and it can make you can feel guilty a lot of the time, right? When you are taking that time for you and when you're pulling away from the classroom, you can start to feel a bit guilty around the behaviors that you're putting in place and not actually looking after, and you feel like you're not doing what you should be doing for the classroom. But actually what I want to do is show you that the more time that you put into yourself and invest into yourself in a positive way outside the classroom, the better you will actually show up in the classroom too, because the more energy we have, the more time that we put into our health and fitness, less lethargic we're feeling, you're just feeling better all round, and it has a positive impact on how you show up day to day. So that's what I really want to dive into today. So, topic number 1 is getting ahead. Okay, so number 1 is all around getting ahead and buying your time back. Now, I don't mean physically going and paying for time and buying someone to do whatever you need to do be done. What I mean is getting time back where you can. So, teaching is, I feel like our currency as teachers is definitely time orientated. So, basically, the more time you have, that's the resource that's most limited, isn't it? So, the more time you have, the better it is. So, getting ahead where you can is the best way for you to buy back time when things get busy, when things get stressful. I found in teaching, as I went through my career, I would hate those half terms where I had not given myself the opportunity to get ahead with things like planning, things like preparation with the areas that I could do. So, for example, at the end of every half term, I would give myself some extra time to really get ahead with the planning for the half term for the week for the next half term. So that would make sure that I'm like at least 3 weeks ahead with that planning for the next half term. And that's about being organized and it's about being as strategic as possible with that. But you just think like you're starting that next half term, you've got so many other things on, you are not going to be given the amount of time you need to actually plan anyway, because we know PPA is not long enough. So getting ahead where you can and always trying to be sort of 3 or 4 weeks ahead, it gives you that respite, it gives you that leeway, and it gives you that opportunity when things do get a bit stressful to actually not do some planning that week because other things have taken over. And it just gives you that opportunity to really take control of what's going on. The last thing you want is for it to be the week from hell and you've still not planned for Monday, or for it to be the week from hell and you've still got tomorrow's lessons to plan. You should not be planning tomorrow's lessons at any point. You should 100% at very least be the last next week ahead, but try and be 3 to 4 weeks ahead with your planning where you can. If you need to spend a little bit of time, say that first Monday of the half term, I'm just being realistic, like that time needs to come from somewhere, right? And I feel like if you can do that so that during the half term, during the time when it is term time and things get so chaotic, you are a little bit more ahead, and it means that you can leave work early on a few of those days, and you're just going to have that better balance when you do go back to work and give yourself that time to sort of get ahead with it a little bit. Organization is 100% key in teaching, and I think giving yourself that opportunity to really step forward with it and to really take hold of the things that you can is key. There's not much that we can control in teaching, but if you can take control of certain elements, it will help you with the areas that you can't control as much. Number 2 is being a little bit strict with yourself and making sure that you do not tick off your to-do list all of the time, which sounds absolutely counterproductive and ridiculous. But I am telling you now, as a teacher, you will always have a never-ending to-do list. That to-do list is never going to stop filling up. It's always going to continue. There's always going to be things added to it. There's always going to be extras added onto your to-do list. And the matter of fact is you need to accept that you are never ever going to tick all of these things off your to-do list. You need to be the absolute queen of understanding which of these tasks you need to prioritize, which of these tasks can get pushed a little bit, which of these tasks are tasks that you do when you have time to do them. And it's really understanding where are you juggling those things around on your to-do list. A to-do list, a list long of tasks of things as a teacher is absolutely pointless if you are not categorizing these things properly. And I think probably organizing, categorizing to-do lists is a separate podcast, which I'm more than happy to do. But I think you need to really accept that actually you're never going to get through all of these things on your to-do list, and you need to understand that sometimes it's okay to miss things. It's okay to not get everything done, and accepting that, okay, actually I'm going to get half of these things done is good enough, because you need to be able to have that time for you. Otherwise you will be working 12-hour days every single day, which is just not manageable. It's not feasible. It's a demanding job. It's a tiring job. You are not going to be able to show up the next day if you have been in that building for 12 hours. Number 3, striving for non-perfectionism. I think perfectionism is such a common trait in teaching, but I can tell you now, you will burn out so quickly if that's what you're striving for. If you want every single lesson to look perfect on your PowerPoints, you want every single lesson to be planned to an absolute T, you're not going to deliver it until you've done A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, all the way up to Z. And if you want your classroom to be absolutely perfect, you will waste so much time in that classroom, and you will waste so much time when you're planning, because I can tell you now, the children do not get the value that you think from your slides looking absolutely perfect with all the glitz and glamour on there. In fact, there's research showing that the less that's on your slide, the more children get out of it, because it is cognitively overwhelming for there to be so many things on there. So keep it simple. Stop being a perfectionist of everything that you do. Let's be real. The real teaching happens actually live in that classroom. It happens in front of the children. It's when you show up and you step up and you really put yourself forward, and you listen to what they're responding to, you watch what they're responding to, and you respond and you adapt what's going on in the moment. You can't plan for that. You can't be a perfectionist with planning. It's absolutely pointless. Do what you can to a good level, move on. That's what you need to be doing. This is good enough, and moving on. Take away this perfectionism attitude. Honestly, I wish we did have time to be perfect in everything in teaching, but we just don't. Okay, it's not realistic. Number 4 is snoozing your alarm. Highly successful people will not be snoozing their alarm. Okay, this is something, and this is a habit that I always come back to. I will admit, like, I am quite guilty of it. Is going and being like, oh, I'll give myself an extra 10 minutes, or I'll give myself an extra 5 minutes, whatever that might look like. Snoozing your alarm is only going to make your mornings rushed. I honestly believe that as soon as your mornings feel more rushed and you feel out of place and you're not sure what you should be putting in place or what you should be doing, your day just starts a little bit more hectic. Snoozing your alarm allows for that time. So as soon as that alarm clock goes up, get yourself out of bed. You're not going to feel any less tired if you have an extra 10 minutes. Go in the shower, wake yourself up, get a coffee, start your day, and then you can move on. That's the main thing that you need to think about, is getting those things ticked off and then moving on to the next task, the next level. Number 5 is leaving school at a set time. You have to get into the habit of giving yourself strict and realistic times to leave school. You cannot obviously be leaving school at 4 o'clock every single day. Okay, it's not realistic. There are going to be days where you do need to stay a little bit later. However, it's also not realistic to be staying at school until closing every single day either. You need to try and find a bit of a balance between the two and say, okay, on a Monday, I'm going to make sure that I'm out the building by 4 o'clock. On a Tuesday, however, I'm going to allow myself to stay a little bit later and get some work done after work. You might say, on a Wednesday, I have staff meeting, so I'm just going to stay till late after the staff meeting. And then on a Thursday, I'm going to leave at 4 o'clock again and get myself to the gym. I want you to sit down on a Sunday night, and I want you to look at the week ahead, and I want you to plan what time you're going to be leaving and actually leave at that time. I don't care what's on your to-do list. I don't care what's there. The only reason you shouldn't be leaving at that time is if you had a massive safeguarding issue blow up and you physically can't leave the building. Some days, like I said, you are going to have to be leaving your to-do list, and some days it's better to actually leave, get the gym done, get your workout done, and then do literally an hour of work when you get home, and sort of build that into that as well. I think building in, this is something that massively changed my progress as a teacher and massively changed the effect of my workload, was building in set times blocks for workload after work. I knew that when the classroom was empty and the children had just gone, that was the worst time for me to do any planning, because I was exhausted from the day, right? So as many evenings as I could, I would leave that building as early as possible, 4:45, 4 o'clock, whatever that might be, and I would go straight to the gym because it was on the way back from work. I would then go home. It was about 5:30, 6 o'clock. I was fresh because I'd been to the gym, I'd done something for myself, I'd got that ticked off, I'd done some movement. I would grab a cup of coffee, cup of tea, whatever that might be, decaf, a little snack if I wanted one, and I would sit and I would set a timer on my phone to do an hour's worth of work, and that was it. So I would set a timer, get an hour's worth of planning done, get an hour's worth of productive work, and I would make sure I wasn't looking on Class Dojo at that time. I wasn't looking at responding to emails at that time. I was literally getting my to-do list and tasks done that I needed in that time limit, made sure that I could stick to these things and actually get stuff done and be productive with the time that I had available. Number 6, is actually having a lunch break. I found that I would show up as such a better teacher in the afternoons, what that would look like for the last few hours of the day when I actually started giving myself a lunch break. My honest tip that I can give to you, which is the best thing you can do for your well-being, is find somebody in school who you can relate to, resonate with, befriend a little bit, and literally build a bit of a pact with them that you're going to have lunch together every single day. And having that relationship in school is just so nice because you can talk about positive things. If you're in the same year group, you can talk about the afternoon, whatever that might look like. Build this team around you. The more people that you have around you in a job like this, the better it feels. And building those connections with people in your classroom, your environment, your school is so important. And actually having that time to learn about, giving yourself that time to actually spend with somebody who's in a similar situation with you, working on similar things to you, is just so worthwhile. And it also gives you a break. It means you're going back into the afternoon fresh. And my favorite tip is number 7, which is travel where you can. You get so many holidays as a teacher, and I know that you're working through the holidays sometimes, but that needs to stop. The holidays are not there for you to go in and set your classroom up, go in and do all your planning. Absolutely not. Book a holiday for those holidays. Get yourself away. Not many jobs or careers you can do that. Not many jobs or careers you have the opportunity to have that much time off. So get yourself a holiday booked, go away, travel during that time, and really make the most of that time off. And honestly, you will show up as a better version of you when you come back to school after that half term. They're the 7 healthy habits I think of highly successful teachers. If you found this podcast episode useful, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Or subscribe to my YouTube if you're listening over on YouTube. And I'll catch you all on the next one.